Howdy everybody, David here, and this is another Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition class archetype breakdown. And this particular breakdown, we are going to look at the new rogue archetype, the Swashbuckler, from the Sword Coast Companion Adventures Guide that was just released recently. Now, when you start a character in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, you are going to choose one of the 12 core classes from Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Wizard, Sorcerer, and a Rogue. There's a lot more choices than that, but you get the drift. You get one of 12 classes to choose from, which is actually a really nice variety. Now, when you choose this class, you're going to level it from 1 to 20. And every class is going to get the proficiency bonuses you can see here. And the Rogue is going to get your bread and butter, which is sneak attack. All right, and it starts off at 1d6, scales up all the way by level 19, you'll do 10d6. And if you hit a critical strike, then it'll do 20d6. And along with your sneak attack, your proficiency bonus, you see that you get a ton. Every single level, the Rogue will get at least one feature. Some levels, they'll get multiple features, so you'll get expertise, your sneak attack, Thieves' Cant, cunning action, your ability score improvements. You'll get multiple ability score improvements to upgrade your ability scores or to take optional feats if your dungeon master allows it. Now, every class in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition has some special flavor, or like a subclass, or it's called an archetype. And at level 3, the Rogue is when they get to choose their roguish archetype. And, you're going to get everything that you see here for 1 to 20. And for the Swashbuckler, which is one of the 2 new roguish archetypes that's in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, the Swashbuckler is where you're going to focus your training on the art of the blade, relying on speed, elegance, and charm in equal parts. While some warriors are brute-clad in heavy armor, your method of fighting looks almost like a performance. Duelists and pirates typically belong to this archetype, and Errol Flynn is jumping in the grave right now for this Swashbuckler class. So, the Swashbuckler excels in single combat and can fight with 2 weapons while safely darting away from an opponent. Now, when you usually dart away from an opponent, you usually have to use an action to disengage. Well, as the Swashbuckler, you're going to see with this first class feature that you'll get at level 3 called Fancy Footwork, this is where you are going to be able to dart away from an opponent and not take that opportunity attack. It's really, really crazy. It's really, really powerful. So Fancy Footwork is where you learn how to land a strike and then slip away without reprisal. So during your turn, if you make a melee attack action, now the key word there is melee attack action against a creature, that creature cannot make opportunity attacks against you for the rest of your turn. So if you have movement left, make sure if you dart in there, make sure you have some movement left to where you can dart back out. And as long as you use the melee attack against that creature, it can't hit you with an attack of opportunity. And remember, this is for single combat. So if you dart in there with more than one creature around you, then Fancy Footwork is not going to help you. That's when you're going to have to disengage with your 2nd level cunning action skill and then get out with your bonus action. So as long as you're one-on-one, Fancy Footwork is perfect. So that's why I'm repeating this again. Fancy Footwork, great for single target, like the Swashbuckler says. If you've got more than one target around you, Fancy Footwork is not going to save you, and you're going to have to use your level 2 baseline rogue feature called Cunning Action, then you can get away. So that's Fancy Footwork. Really nice. Really, really, really nice. So also at level 3, you're going to get Rakish Audacity. And this is where your unmistakable confidence propels you in battle. Now, you're going to be able to add your charisma modifier onto your initiative rolls. So not only are you going to have your dex, which is your highest stat as a rogue, now you're also going to be able to add charisma. So it'll be 1d20 plus dex plus charisma. So you're even going to have a better chance of having a higher roll, well, you're going to have a better chance to going nearly almost first every single round of combat, which is really nice. Now, also for Rakish Audacity, in addition to adding your charisma modifier to your initiative rolls, you will not need advantage on your attack roll to use sneak attack if no creature other than your target is within 5 feet of you. Now listen to that again. That can be a little tricky, but usually if you are qualifying for a sneak attack to add your sneak attack damage, you have to have an ally within 5 feet of that target. You know, sort of like as a distraction or something. So with Rakish Audacity, you no longer need that person within 5 feet of the target. You don't need it. As long as, you know, you can get the sneak attack if no creature other than your target is within 5 feet of you. So as long as it's solo, like what the theme of the Swashbuckler is, you can get sneak attack on a single target, which is really nice. Now, all the other rules for sneak attack is going to apply for you. So if you're using a bow, you're still going to need to have the target beside, one of your allied targets beside that target, if you're going to be sitting in the back growing roots. So Rakish Audacity, this is where you take advantage of one-on-one combat, like the Swashbuckler says. Really nice. Now, next, at level 9, you're going to get Panache. And Panache is, even though we've been really combat heavy so far with the class features for the Swashbuckler, the Panache kind of goes with the other part now, disguises and, deception. So at level 9, your charm becomes extraordinarily beguiling. So as an action, you can make a charisma persuasion check contested by the creature's wisdom insight check. Now the creature must be able to hear you, and the two of you must share the language that you're communicating with. Now, if you succeed on the check and the creature is hostile with you, it will have disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you, and cannot make opportunity attacks against targets other than you. So basically what you're doing with Panache is you are taunting this thing to where it is distracted with everything else that's going around the creature except for you. So you're basically, you're pulling an Errol Flynn here. You're taunting him, and it's not going to be able, if something runs past it, it won't be able to make the opportunity attack, and it will have disadvantage on any other attack rolls, which is really nice. So Panache, the effect is going to last for 1 minute, and 1 minute in combat is basically 10 rounds at 6 seconds per round for 60 seconds. Until one of your companions attacks the target or affects it with a spell, or until you and the target are more than 60 feet apart. So there's several ways that this effect will end. So basically, the effect will last for 1 minute until one of the companions attacks the target or affects it with a spell, or until you and the target are more than 6 feet apart. So just make sure, as a free action, you're telling everyone to stay away from your target, because to fit the Swashbuckler theme again, it is a one-on-one duel, and you are just totally taunting and torturing your target to death. I love it. I like Panache. It's more of a good RP feature than it is for damage. And, Dungeons & Dragons isn't all about damage and fighting and combat and maps and tactical stuff. It's also nice to have class features like Panache thrown in as well, because you and the DM can actually kind of banter back and forth with one another while you're, torturing it and, using Panache. It's really fun. So if you succeed on the check and the creature is not hostile on you, then it'll be charmed by you for 1 minute, and then you'll read all the effects for the condition of charm. While charmed, it will regard you as a friendly acquaintance, but the effect ends immediately if you or your companions do anything harmful to it. And one thing that Panache does not add, what I'll add with charm, is whenever a charm ends, it knows that you charmed it. And that target is usually not very happy when it finds out that it was charmed by whoever did it. So that's just another thing to take into consideration with Panache. So as long as it's not hostile, instead of taunting it, you charm it for 1 minute. Really nice. Now, next at level 13, you are going to get Elegant Maneuver. And this is where you can use a bonus action on your turn to gain advantage on the next dexterity, acrobatics, or strength athletics check you make during the same turn. So if you know you need to jump between buildings, use a bonus action, then you'll go ahead and gain advantage on your next dexterity, acrobatics, or in this case, jumping would be strength athletics. Very nice. Elegant Maneuver, very nice. Last but not least, at level 17, you will get Master Duelist. And this is where your Mastery of the Blade lets you turn failure into success in combat. So if you miss with an attack roll, you can use Master Duelist to re-roll it again with advantage. And if you don't know what advantage is, hopefully by level 17 you'll know what advantage is. But advantage is like one of the main selling points in D&D 5e. It was taken from 4th edition, and advantage is if you roll twice, you take the highest roll. So Master Duelist, if you fail your attack roll, use Master Duelist, roll advantage, which roll 2 more times, then take the highest roll. Bam, there you go. So once you use Master Duelist, you cannot use Master Duelist again until you finish a short or long rest. Short rest, 1 hour. Long rest, 6-8 hours. So there you go. I really like the Swashbuckler. And in fact, I'm almost willing to say that I think Swashbuckler is probably the strongest of all the rogue archetypes. So tell me what you guys think of the rogue Swashbuckler. Do you also agree with me on where it's probably the strongest archetype? Would you play a Swashbuckler, and how would you use Panache to roleplay? I want to hear your ideas on this Panache. I really like the Panache archetype feature. So leave us a comment down in the section below. If you haven't done so yet, please feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, share or like these videos. I hope you guys enjoy them all. And until next time, I'm David.